Good morning. Good morning. Before starting, let's remember some basic evacuation measures to follow in case of a danger. If something happens, we need to evacuate immediately to the yard in front of the chapel. For the 3 entrances will be opened for you to exit, okay? Thanks. Well, here we are again. Welcome everyone, those who are here with us attending this debate, and those who are following us through the online transmission. Father Antonio Bausbo, welcome again. I really appreciate your joining us today. Mrs. Doris Moraga, nice to have you here too. And Ms. Priscilla Rocha, and all the head of the academic departments, great to count with your support all the time. Dear colleagues and students in general, St. Gaspar College is proud to form students who develop their critical thinking in all the areas of formation. We are working hard to promote the abilities our students need to face the challenges this century demands from them. Thanks God, we have made substantial advances to keep them on the right track. I'm very proud to introduce the students who belong to my elective class, Participation and Argumentation in Democracy, who have researched and prepared the topic under the scope today. Are nations still in time to regulate artificial intelligence? Let's think about that. We are going to listen to the arguments of both stances today. First, I'm going to introduce the yes team. Now, that is to say, those who state that nations are still in time to set some regulations. They are Vicente Gajardo, Ricardo Chavez, Luca Aviles, Barbara Toro, and Martín Barrientos. Give them an applause, please. Well, on the other side, we have the team who supports the claim that nations are not in time to regulate artificial intelligence. They are Matías Bustos, Benjamín Avilés, Leonor Egaña, Alex Soto, and Tomás Quintana. An applause for them too. I am very, very thankful to the judges who are committed to assess the arguments and precise which team will be the winner of this debate. Ms. Mónica Ramírez, teacher of philosophy, Ms. Francisca Guzmán, teacher of history, and Ms. Yvette Macaña, teacher of English. Let's give them a big applause. Thank you a lot for your work, students, and support of teachers. Let's explain a little bit the organization of the debate to understand each step that you are going to see. First, both teams will be backing up the arguments with their first 2 speakers. Then, the first crossfire will take place. 2 next crossfires will be introduced afterwards. And one is before the rebuttals, and the other one before the closing. The general crossfire will take place at the very end, of course, and in that case, all students have the possibility to participate, any of the teams, okay? But they must respect the rules and follow the indications given by the teacher. Every student has up to 4 minutes to present his or her arguments. Well, the rules have been established for each team, and according to the general position, the claim that starts is the one that says yes. So, are you ready? Yes, you are? Good. So let's invite and listen to our first speaker, Matías Bustos. So sorry. It was a big mistake. Vicente Tejado, sorry.
Nations are still in time to regulate artificial intelligence because it is not that advanced yet. They are not that smart to become against us and harm us in a critical way. So governments can still develop informatic defenses and security measures in order to avoid artificial intelligence becoming a danger to our society or privacy, and in the most extreme case, a danger to our lives. And I mention this case of our lives because we have created fiction stories of how artificial intelligence gained conscious and took over the world and did terrible things to our race. And an example of things that have already happened with artificial intelligence is that it has problems with face recognition systems. Like, for example, being less accurate when they are scanning black people, for example. And another kind of facial scanning mistakes that has been made by artificial intelligence has harmed many people in a critical way by accusing them of crimes they never committed, like welfare fraud, for example. The nations with more advances in artificial intelligence are the US, China, Israel, and the European Union, in that order. These nations are already making regulations for artificial intelligence, like, for example, China, by interfering in the administrative area of different enterprises which work in the development of artificial intelligence. Nations belonging to the European Union and the US have created a pyramid of levels on the danger of artificial intelligence. This helps in avoiding unnecessary risks, and it also helps in the organization and classification of the new artificial intelligence that are coming out recently. These levels are the unacceptable risk when artificial intelligence is considered a threat to the safety, livelihood, and rights of people. The measures which are taken with this artificial intelligence are banning them. They go from social scoring to toys using voice assistant that encourages dangerous behavior. Now it's the high risk, and when an artificial intelligence identified as high risk is used, for example, in critical infrastructure, like transport that could put the life and health of citizens in danger. The developers subject the artificial intelligence to strict obligations before they can be put in the market. Some of these are, for example, high quality of datasets feeding the system to avoid risks and discriminatory outcomes. Now, it's the limited risk refers to an artificial intelligence system with specific transparency obligations. When using artificial intelligence systems such as chatbots, their users should be aware that they are speaking with an artificial intelligence. And finally, it's the minimal or no risk. This proposal allows the free use of minimal risk artificial intelligence. Because this includes, for example, AI-enabled video games or spam filters. The vast majority of artificial intelligence currently used in the US fall into this category. Once artificial intelligence is placed in the market, authorities are in charge of market surveillance. For example, in the risk-based regulation area is the US with their federal agencies that are specifically for artificial intelligence regulations. The European Union, with the General Data Protection Regulation, it states that artificial intelligence shouldn't be allowed to make important decisions that could affect any legal rights without human supervision. And so, it could be said that the reason nations are still in time to regulate artificial intelligence is because there are already some regulations. So that means that there is a space for more regulations and improve the ones that already exist, and create new and better regulations so they don't have any failures. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, we're going to listen then to Matías Bustos. Okay, this is the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Nations are not in time to regulate what artificial intelligence could provoke in our lives. Since many years ago, we have lived with so many services that have made our daily routines easier. These services have been rapidly and efficiently transformed by a growing technology, which is principally related to the great advances that computer processing and data storage have been receiving since approximately 20 years ago. This phenomenon is occurring in the present, having an impact in our future as humans. Thus, it is not only in the hands of nations and how governments could establish some regulations to control what is possible to control, but also in the hands of each human's individuality. It is important to say that AIs can be used with a lot of positive purposes, but in the way and at the magnitude they are functioning, they can also be used to satisfy a lot of procedures and methods that can be detrimental to some nations. It is relevant to think about the boundaries that artificial intelligence has, if it would have some. In fact, has all this been sufficiently regulated by nations? Artificial intelligence systems have created misinformation along with problems such as political bias. This phenomenon has been happening because of the way that AI gathers information based on data learning. The new improvements brought up by AI have turned into a lot of new benefits to our race, but also they have been turning into problems that are essential to be solved by nations. These uses can be related mostly to methods that before the existence of AI weren't utilized, causing new legal holes. In our country, the Ministries of Science, Technology, Knowledge, and Innovation created the first national policy in 2021. These national policies are always trying to look to the future, considering how it is going to affect humans in a few years more. Currently, artificial intelligences have been bringing up a lot of problems to our society, such as cybersecurity threats, which are carrying out invasion of privacy, which is also related to the social manipulation these technologies are causing, along with the combination that could be done by them between marketing strategies and the broad collection of personal data. How could nations regulate a technology that is learning more about a race each time? Another point to take into consideration is that in some cases, AI is doing things that humans can't do, replacing us in many tasks. Besides job losses that this is causing, the most important thing is how this will affect to humans' development in the future. As we can deduce, machines that are working today in different jobs don't have all of the abilities that a human has. So, if we arrive at a humanity totally consumed by AI, we won't develop some important abilities that we are capable of developing today. There are so many aspects that in some way are going to be influenced by AI. Nations have an important role in this phenomenon. Moreover, if it is being used in so many aspects of our lives, including education. Thus, taking into account that this technology is going to grow each time more, being impossible to regret what it has brought up to us. Artificial intelligence is being regulated neither now nor in the future according to us. Thank you.
Okay. We're going to listen to the position of the other group, Ricardo Chavez. Your turn.
Okay. Nations are still in time to regulate artificial intelligence because it isn't that advanced yet, but they have to start taking action soon. That's why thousands of experts have asked to stop research on artificial intelligence for 6 months in order to regulate it and develop security protocols. These experts have signed an open letter in which they warn of the threats of the latest advances in AI. The letter says, advanced AI could represent a profound change in the history of life on Earth and should be planned and managed with appropriate care and resources. We call on all AI laboratories to immediately post for at least 6 months the training of AI systems more powerful than GPT-4. If such a pause cannot be quickly enacted, governments should step in and institute a moratorium. In addition, the Israeli historian Yuval Noah Harari argues in a New York Times column that the time to deal with artificial intelligence is before our politics, our economy, and our daily lives come to depend on it. He also gave a keynote where he talked about AI and the future of humanity. He says that to threaten the survival of human civilization, AI needs to have mastery of human language. So for him, we need to regulate it before that happens. Mr. Harari says, in order to make sure that the new AI tools are used for good and not for ill, we first need to appreciate their true capabilities, and we need to regulate them very, very carefully. Mr. Harari, referring to governments, said, governments must immediately ban the release into a public domain of any more revolutionary AI tools before they are made safe. And finally, as a conclusion, Mr. Harari said, we should put a halt to irresponsible deployment of this alien intelligence into our societies and regulate AI before it regulates us. Also, a humanist futurist, George Leonard, said, a human collaboration towards AI is necessary before we cannot control it. We're still in time. The key lies in using technology to benefit humanity, take their well-being into account above all else in every decision, and not use it just to earn more money, but rather prioritize the positive effects of its application, for example, in the field of sustainability. As my teammate said before, an important point when it comes to affirming that we are still in time to regulate artificial intelligence is that there are already regulations on AI that are being developed throughout the world. Some of the most important are the following. The Artificial Intelligence Act of the European Union. The law will be the first horizontal law to regulate all uses of AI, classifying applications into 3 different risk levels. The blueprint for an Artificial Intelligence Bill of Rights, published by the United States, that outlines 5 principles to guide the design, use, and implementation of automated systems in the AI age. The framework of Brazil for regulating the use of artificial intelligence systems. The bill will serve as the starting point for deliberations by the Senate on new AI legislation. The Artificial Intelligence and Data Act of Canada. It starts a new regulatory system designed to guide AI innovation in a positive direction and to encourage the responsible adoption of AI technologies. The White Paper of the United Kingdom confirms that they will require existing regulators, including the UK Information Commissioner's Office, to take responsibility for the establishment, promotion, and oversight of responsible AI in their respective sectors. And finally, Germany published the German Standardization Roadmap for Artificial Intelligence. It outlines the requirements for future regulations, and standards in the context of AI. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, let's listen to new arguments, in this time by Benjamin Aviles.
Hi, everyone. Well, it all started in 1921 as a science fiction play released by Czech playwright Karel Čapek, which is called Rossum's Universal Robots. It was the first medium that introduced the idea of artificial people called robots to the world. After many technological advances, in 1950, computer expert Mr. Alan Turing published an article, this called Computing Machinery and Intelligence, where he proposed the following question: can machines think? This with the objective of creating the imitation game. The hypothesis was, if the machine took the place of one or another person answering the interrogator's questions, whether he was able to identify it or was fooled by it. With this principle in mind, many experts made advances with different goals, from making AI capable of playing games to translating, and many more. However, that search for efficiency led us to an unregulated development, which has been recently noticed. due to the creation of machines able to do the job for us, but without realizing its downsides. MIT Technology Review has an article redacted by Eileen Guo with the title, "A Roomba Recorded a Woman on the Toilet. How did the screenshots end up on Facebook?" This makes us question, how much do we actually know about AI? Well, according to an article written by R.J. Reinhardt, 85% of Americans have at least 1 in 6 AI-related devices. One example being the smartphone, which received the relatively new assistant tool that comes in handy when you want to look for information. But the problem comes around once you realize that the answer regarding the information you asked may be biased. This is due to the AI's capacity of learning, but with the flaw that it cannot distinguish between what is a personal opinion and what is a fact, also taking into consideration that the gender the AI is assigned can affect the response you're given. The main assistants appeal to the feminine gender, and according to UNESCO, these devices were designed to have submissive personalities. And furthermore, the conversation pointed out that this design reproduces discriminatory stereotypes about female secretaries. This evidence how AI is biased. One way or another, AI may be present when you're least expected, with names that go back to the 90s, such as Google or Microsoft. And the idea behind using AI as a crucial resource was inspired by the results it had in improving companies' efficiency and revenue, such as Apple or the fast-growing Tesla. These aspects are evidence that any attempt to remove AI will be effortless. It would affect the freedom of people to choose and cause them a lot of trouble, since it's not only used at work, but also for academic purposes by students. This raises a lot of questions regarding ethics, optimization of time, and whether the students were learning or not due to the excessive use. It's our job to recognize and teach that the misuse of this technology can negatively affect not only the careers of the students, but also to the people around them. These facts and evidence are more than enough proof to show how irresponsible humanity has been in the development of AI, allowing the big companies to play with our privacy and money just with the help of this tool that seems almost perfect, all at the cost of affecting people's employment and normalizing these brands' products even becoming a necessity, evidencing furthermore that humanity is not in a position to regulate artificial intelligence. Thank you.
Well, the first crossfire comes now, so you have a minute to organize your position. Go. Time. Okay, let's listen then Ricardo Chavez and with the answer Matias Bustos. Go.
Well, my question is, why do you think that the nations can't regulate artificial intelligence? Because you said that they haven't the possibility to do that.
Yes. I said a lot of points explaining why we think it is not possible to regulate by nations. One of the points was the social manipulation that the bad things that AI could bring to the society. And also when I talked about the future, because AI is advancing so fast in a lot of countries. So our point is that it won't stop like advancing in many aspects that we included in our claim too.
Okay, thank you. This is a moment then for Benjamin Aviles, okay, to Vicente Gajardo, your crossfire.
Okay, as a statement that's been described for both positions, it stated that AI is not smart enough, which means that it can keep improving and developing in a very fast pace. So, for example, the not recognizing the black people's faces, yeah, it's true, but it's still to development. So why on earth will we need to stop developing something that may be useful for people?
Could you repeat the last thing? I didn't hear you well. Sorry.
Yeah. You mentioned that the AI has been having a difficulty at recognizing black people's faces. And at the same time, you're stating that we should regulate the artificial intelligence. But why will we need to stop some things that are able to make people feel safer and to be helpful for them?
I didn't mean to say we should stop. We can control the pace. We can make it evolve slower than it is, I think. And the thing with the black people is the regulation for it to not happen again. It's to avoid that kind of mistakes.
So it has happened before? Because
Yes.
of one of the statements of your sources, it says that we have to use the AI to benefit humanity. But at the same time, how much do you think that it can be regulated to not making it too powerful, or to just completely erase it?
Okay. Could you repeat, please?
Sorry, but the crossfire time has ended. Okay, good. Okay,
Sorry.
we have to continue. We have to continue with arguments. Okay, and further information. Let's listen to the speaker number 3 of the Yes team, Luca Aviles.
The fast evolution of artificial intelligence over the years has given a lot to talk about. In fact, businessmen and workers from all over the world have shown their opinion that nations are still in time to regulate artificial intelligence. On November 13, 2022, an artificial intelligence called ChatGPT was released. They soon demonstrated the advantage of this application, which highlight the accuracy of the responses and every content it covers. But at the same time, they have risen for criticism, especially by Stanford University, which has carried out a study demonstrating the risk of using ChatGPT. 1. The result of model does not reflect the true cultural diversity. ChatGPT doesn't recognize the native language of the population around the world. This is a big problem because it prevents native groups from being able to use the application. For example, to work or study. 2. The models are not optimized from student learning. Continuing with the problems of ChatGPT, at the educational level, we can find it's not prepared for an educational system due to the quality of the responses it delivers. It prefers quick answers that are not necessarily suitable for persons. Number 3, incorrect answers come in beautiful packaging. That ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence is not a guarantee of absence of wrong answers. If this happened with a person who is not informed with the topic in question and quickly searches the answer on ChatGPT, it may be wrong. But it will try to make up as much as possible, so that seems true. 4. Advantage of accelerate motivational crisis. This is one of the most important aspects of artificial intelligence. ChatGPT offers quick answers in a short time on different topics. The problem is that both students and workers can feel an internal crisis about whether they compete or not against that. To complement this last point, different experts around the world have shown their rejection of artificial intelligence in school and jobs. Wayne Hugh of the venture capital Signify said, "Suddenly, all the investors are talking about how ChatGPT could eliminate millions of skilled jobs, radically change trillion-dollar industries, and fundamentally change the way we learn, consume, and make decisions." Once the negative effects of artificial intelligence have been demonstrated, it's important to highlight the areas in which society affect the most. Work and education are one of the most important parts of society worldwide. On the other hand, I have countries that took restrict measures against artificial intelligence. Italy. Italy temporarily banned the use of ChatGPT in March after its data protection authority raised its concern over possibly privacy violations and failing to verify users were 13 or above. European Union lawmakers are also debating the wording of use of AI law, which will affect anyone who provides a product or service that uses artificial intelligence. They have proposed clarifying the different tools of technology according to their level of perceived risk, from low to unacceptable. The proposed legislation, known as the Artificial Intelligence Law, focuses mainly on strengthening the rules of data quality, transparency, human supervision, responsibility, and for this technology. France. France's National Assembly approved in March the use of AI video surveillance during the 2024 Paris Olympics, overlooking warnings from civil rights groups that technology poses a threat to civil liberties. In this context, the main factors that Europe and other countries seek to regulate are: 1. The data which AI works; 2. The identity and data the users they use. An example could be biometric surveillance. 3. The management of questions and answers that arise. 4. Environmental impact and possible sanctions for negative users. Nations that are already powered worldwide are taking measures to regulate artificial intelligence. It's not too late to adopt regulatory measures to regulate the phenomenon of artificial intelligence. And here we have countries that are taking measures against artificial intelligence. Spain. Spain Data Protection Agency says in April it was launched a preliminary investigation into the potential of data breaches by ChatGPT. It's also asked the European Union's privacy watchdog to evaluate privacy concerns surrounding ChatGPT. 2. Japan. Japan Transformation Minister Tago Kuro said in April he won the G7 Digital Ministers meeting from April 29 to 30 to discuss AI technology, including ChatGPT, and issue a unified message from G7 message. Ireland. Ireland generates ChatGPT needs to be regulated, but governing bodies have figured out how to do it properly before rushing into regulation.
Thank you. Okay, it's the time to listen to Leonor Egaña.
Artificial intelligence has been a topic of utmost interest for many people, and now it is clear that we are not able to stop it or regulate it. Scientists are making unbelievable things like robots that can think by themselves. Amazing, right? Well, artificial intelligence is inevitable. For instance, a British inventor, Stephen Sinclair, said in the Washington Post that the artificial intelligence will dump mankind. It is just inevitability, he told to BBC News. Nations have to consider many aspects to carry out a regulation, and one of these is that the control is in the hands of all companies. They are responsible for the use of AI. In the United States, according to 2023 AI Index report, the biggest private investment was done in 2022. This country invested $47.4 billion, and with this, the United States founded 542 AI companies, the largest number in all countries. With this number, we realize that the interest of the nation is in making AI a private investment. And that is the reason why they can't stop it, because they are no longer in control of it. The nation are directed by people who make the decision for the future of millions of people, right? Well, and a study by Max Planck Institute for Humans and Machines talks about why people can control AI. They explain that we need a superintelligence to make a simulation to predict AI actions. But the superintelligence can be controlled, so leaving us in a vicious circle from which we can get out. Another important point is the influence of AI in our life and the impact in our decision and regulation. Many studies have already shown that the constant interaction with technology are changing our brains. AI enable analytics to collect, organize, and analyze vast amounts of information to find patterns and trends through the use of machine learning techniques and the use of data to identify behavior pattern and use preferences. The AI can study us and control our decision with misinformation. Accordingly to us, Shyam Sundar, humanity imagination is out of proportion. An investigation by the Center of Social Responsible AI showed that when a machine rather than a human is identified as a source of interaction, it triggers a mental shortcut in the mind of users that they call machine heuristic. It closes the user judgment and results in the user over-trusting machines. Accordingly to Carson Smith, AI applications are still emerging and will never stop emerging, so it's difficult to know or predict what the future risks or benefits might be. He established that the lawmakers are often too slow to adapt the rapidly changing technological environment. Some new laws are obsolete by the time they are enacted or even introduced. On the other hand, we have to consider the technological race between China and the US. The technological wars include artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and robotics, all of which are key to winning the race to dominate global teaching. For this reason, they can regulate the technological advancement that will finally make them win. So the question for you is, if you have the opportunity, will you let your opponent win? Nation interests are in constant conflict. The impact in our minds and lives, the fast advance in time, and the control over this new aspect called artificial intelligence. How will the nation continue if control isn't in their hands and their interests don't want to control it? Thank you.
Well, teams have a minute to prepare the next crossfire. Remember to be very short in the question, please. Thank you. Time. Okay, let's listen then the second crossfire. I remember, please be very short in your question. It must be contextualized, but very short. Okay? Luca Avilés.
You talk about responsible humanity, and I want to know why is present irresponsible humanity if presidents or prime minister of the most important countries all around the world are taking measures and regulations.
It's not stated at all how it's regulated. Instead, how the development has been. That's why today we have some things like the AI usage in some different devices. That's why it's not regulated.
Yeah, and you talk about how much we know about the artificial intelligence, and we know a lot of artificial intelligence, and for that we can identify the dangers of human this, and that for that I want to know the persons all over in the world taking measures of it, and why you put how much we know on artificial intelligence. If seems like you only know what if you know about artificial intelligence.
The reason why I stated that was because of the MIT technology review about the Roomba incidents, because that Roomba was making usage of AI too, and it's never stated how those screenshots ended up on Facebook, and it's stated that the Roomba that woman had was a specific version that was only available for some people.
Thank you. Okay. It's the time then now, Leonor Gaña and Ricardo Chavez. Okay, Leonor, you start.
Okay, you said that is some study of 6 months. Yeah, we searched about it, and this never happened. Like, it's not happened. So, how?
Okay, what I said is that the experts signed an open letter that happened because if they ask for a pause, it means that there is still time to regulate it because if not, they wouldn't do that.
But the chief executive of OpenAI didn't sign the letter. So,
Yes, but other experts did that.
but the chief is the boss, like the head of all.
Who?
The chief executive of OpenAI.
Yes, they or him, I don't know how much person are that, didn't, but other experts, yes, including Elon Musk.
Okay. You said something that the question is, did you know about the legal holds
The legal what?
in the European Commission?
Okay, time. Thank you. Thank you. We must continue with argument, okay? We are going to continue with Barbara. Sorry, this is the moment of the rebuttals and closing. So the other team starts, okay? So this is the moment for Alex Soto. Alex, I invite you. Thank you.
As the opponent's team said, in an attempt to make time for nations to regulate artificial intelligence, Elon Musk, who founded OpenAI, and experts issued an order to stop development for 6 months on artificial intelligence. But the chief executive of OpenAI didn't sign the letter, making this voluntary pause just a dry-haired law with no power whatsoever. The creators of artificial intelligence are not being able to control how these software models learn information, and that's our biggest concern. Powerful AI systems should be developed only once we are confident that their effects will be positive and the risk will be manageable. We know that the European Commission has proposed a legislation banning the use of artificial intelligence to profile possible criminals based on the internet activities that they have. Although this sounds hopeful, there are many legal holes left to be tempted to completely ignore the law. These legal holes are created because nations want the positive impact on the economy that AI brings and don't want to interrupt economic growth. We know this because all usage of AI in exportation businesses is permitted, meaning that the country's biggest source of income is protected. And the usage of AI in law enforcement is only being regulated on a small portion. How can citizens feel like we're in the future when our laws seem to be regressing to discrimination? In Italy, a ban on ChatGPT was made after a security breach that leaked private information about the user conversations and payments. The ban was lifted after privacy concerns were addressed by making it possible for citizens to remove their private information from the AI. Italy is just a start. Other countries are already getting prepared for AI to fall. But these laws are just being made, 3 years too late to even counteract artificial intelligence growth. A privacy breach of any type of AI would mean that people would completely lose confidential information, a perfect feast for people who sell that information to companies that make advertising based on your internet browsing. When artificial intelligence reaches a point when even banks are controlled by it, all businesses have it integrated, and the big companies use AI for work, nothing will be human, leading to an accumulation of job losses, economic inflation, and credit debt. How can citizens protect and defend themselves if no clear regulations are established? Regulating AI isn't homework for tomorrow. It's something that we're too late to even recognize that we need. There have been multiple instances where a data breach has happened on artificial intelligence servers, leading to dangerous situations. That's why companies are restricting use of AI for work fearing that information can be leaked and used against them. Having access to so much information and being the monster under the bed for jobs that can be replaced by it will be AI's legacy. We have seen in media for years that if robots revolted against humans, it would be apocalyptic, but we don't even need to imagine now because we're slowly heading there. In response to all of this, China has overstepped their game of regulating AI by creating regulations that protect individuals from harmful uses of it. But these regulations are very political because generated content would be required to reflect the socialist core values. We're left with no time, no way to regulate, and no actual way of knowing if the regulations will have the right intentions. We can't be happy about technology building a better future knowing that it can cost us how we function in society. Thank you.
Okay, let's listen to Barbara Toro.
Because of unlimited imagination and definite possibilities it can give to AI to create, it's reasonable to think that it's hard to put regulation against them, as it's even harder to control changing systems. Simultaneously, justifying it with the idea that nobody can be completely sure if governments can create new policies in a way to put real, and most important, effective limits to combat the daily increment of AI. On a different perspective, it's reasonable to think that AI advances pseudo other technologies to prevent these risks. For instance, the major global business organization of technology, the Chamber of Commerce of the United States of America, has taken action. As in 2022, they created the Commission on Artificial Intelligence, Competitiveness, Inclusion, and Innovation. According to this report, their purpose is to provide bipartisan recommendations to policymakers with specified crucial topics to be discussed, such as the fast development of AI systems, regulations according to its considerable impacts in the near future, along with its benefits in population and economic matters, as they pose that all of these potential negative impacts must be debated and addressed in a deliberative and sober manner to create appropriate policies that will provide the pathway for the development and deployment of AI in a responsible and ethical manner. We list multiple questions and advice, likewise when, how, and in what way these restrictive policies could be managed, maintaining why it's important to the government to realize that they can and must take action. I hope decisive it is for today. We will still have time to do so. Ever since AI has grown, it can be classified in 4 types according to Aaron Hintze. The first type, reactive, where it's programmed to provide a predictable output based on the input it receives. Limited memory, where it can store information and it can make predictions. Theory of mind, with the attribute of recognizing humans' emotions. And finally, the fourth type of AI, self-aware, defined as a conscious being capable of understanding others and personal emotions. There are mixed opinions about this subject. While some experts, for instance Aaron Weller, maintain that artificial machines will never be able to feel and behave like humans, some others like Nick Bostrom argue that are starting to be sentient, or that eventually AI will become self-aware, which means it will have some degree of moral status. A solid debate that leaves controversy, but there's only one reliable message that can be concluded. When computers seem sentient, people tend to trust them, blindly. Regulation is needed to ensure that AI products deserve this trust and don't exploit it. But how? And it can be efficiently successful today. In an international perspective, there have been many attempts to regulate AI. Moreover, according to Mixed Technology Review, some are more effective to prepare for a new future than others. First of all, the more lucky ones, such as the Global Partnership of AI, the United Nations attempt, and a legally binding AI treaty, while the more efficient ones found on the OECD AI principles, technical industry standards, and finally, the classified as the most efficient one, the European Union AI Act. The last one classified as not efficient enough is the legally binding AI treaty, with the Council of Europe is planning to make a responsible and ethical treaty to make major progress about the regulation of AI. For that, it's required to the next signatories. If all goes according to plan, the organization could finish drafting the text by November, except Natalie Smuja. On the contrary, the most expected to drive on time is the European Union bill, based on AI Act, where it's liable based on 3 levels: unacceptable risk, high risk, and low risk. The principal point is evident. Now there are many organizations in a global perspective willing to work for the immense reach of AI. The solution is also evident. Take action to make activities and regulations of all these well-organized plain ideas. The perfect moment to do so, it's now. Thank you.
Well, we have the rebuttals there. I will give you 5 minutes to prepare the last crossfire. 5 minutes you have, because I didn't give you the time first. Thank you. Okay, thank you. This is the moment of Crossfire number 3. We are going to listen to Alex Soto first and Luca Aviles. Thank you.
You only talked about ChatGPT, but our biggest concerns are AI systems used in law enforcement based on dangerous bias. Why did you focus so much on ChatGPT?
Because ChatGPT is one of the most famous applications of artificial intelligence around the world. And I mean, everyone could use ChatGPT from search for an answer or a test or maybe an homework. That's why it's important mention ChatGPT.
Okay. You also talked about the ban in Italy. Our claim is that the bans are not only the regulations that we need to do. What did you know that the ban was lifted? Did you know that the ban also left out other problems that AI is causing? Our biggest concern is law enforcement, not ChatGPT.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Sorry. You also talked about the ban in Italy. Our claim is that bans are not the only regulations. Our biggest concern is law enforcement. Did you know that the ban was lifted, that the ban left other problems out of its laws?
Yeah, but in general, the concern about is to take measures against artificial intelligence. In all these countries that I mentioned, they are right now taking measures against artificial intelligence. And I mentioned the countries that were before, after taking these measures and regulations.
Thank you. Okay. Well, we're going to listen then here, the other way around. Barbara Toro and Leonor Egaña.
Leonor, why will nations decide to invest into something like, as you said, it's not on their hands to be regulated?
Can you repeat?
I repeat. Why will nations decide to invest into something like, as you said, it's not on their hands to be regulated?
Because here, for example, in a study of Massachusetts Institute of Technology and Stanford University, which access to performance of more than 5,000 customer support agents, found workers were at average 14% more productive. So nations have to invest it because this make more productive for the country.
Yes, but my question was, because you said that AI, nations cannot regulate AI, correct? So why would they invest into something they have no control on?
That's why, because the productivity is more in all countries want to have more things for the country. And
okay,
the
thank you.
Is more,
time, thank you. Okay, well, we have seen this, and we are going to listen to the last speakers of both teams. We're going to start by the not team, that means Tomás Quintana.
As it has been shown, artificial intelligence is implemented in many parts of our lives right now. And in the next few years, decades, and centuries, it is probably going to be everywhere. According to studies and experts, many of them say that this progress is inevitable. It is a matter of fact that AI is being used in companies to be more efficient and profitable than other companies. So the companies that don't use AI are left behind. And there is no regulation on that, and possibly there is not going to be, as perhaps the entrepreneurs don't want to stop earning more money, and the ones who can regulate it are namely politicians, and their campaigns are paid by the entrepreneurs. On the other hand, AI is being used in countries in many different fields. For example, by the police. In some countries, AI is being tested to catch criminals, or lately in the judicial system to help lawyers analyze plenty of data that a person would do to analyze plenty of data in a matter of seconds. And in some countries like ours, it is being shown by surveys that people prefer safety to liberties. In terms of regulation, the country that it is giving more to talk about is China. But at the same time, those regulations incentivize the use of products created and run by AI, and also the creation of homegrown artificial intelligence. Clear AI rules will make the public trust AI, in China's opinion. Notwithstanding that these rules only govern what business do with artificial intelligence, it is very unlikely that these regulations are going to touch what the Chinese government can do with the power of artificial intelligence. The same is happening in Europe, where the AI Act, and a 100-page text that puts limits on some of the uses of artificial intelligence, was left full of holes, according to geopolitical analysts. And this was on purpose, as nations don't want to be behind on other countries. With all this in mind, is it possible to put a moratorium on AI? Do you think that countries are going to put their interests aside and put the common good first? This is the reasoning that powerful countries have. They all want to benefit from what artificial intelligence can offer, no matter what the consequences can be. A catastrophe has to happen before countries start talking about seriously regulating AI. So what can we do? We cannot just sit and watch and see how our world changes. Some people will say it for good, others will say it for bad. Despite both points of view, we need to be ready for both cases. In the hypothetical future in which artificial intelligence will bring progress, economic growth, and new technologies, we need to assure that this progress does not come at the expense of our liberties. Another critical point is that the countries need to promote new jobs and also change some to adapt themselves to this new kind of technological work. On the other hand, as some experts say, this could even make us extinct by creating something more intelligent than us on Earth. There is no solution for a hypothetical human extinction, but given that nobody wants to get there, we should start making adjustments to our society. First, it is mandatory to teach ethics and morals to the people who develop and train artificial intelligence, so they can be aware of the power they have and how to use it for the good of our society while they are working. Second, as important as teaching the developers, it is teaching the users. For example, we should aim our efforts at education, but don't get me wrong, teaching how to use the programs that are powered by AI can really help and complement the process of learning, but not replace it. That is our call. Adapt ourselves to the new world that artificial intelligence is bringing us. We should learn from our past and be ready for both the good and bad impacts that this new technology is going to have on our world. Finally, teach all parts of our society and the world the power that artificial intelligence has. We must not underestimate it. It is a life or death tool. It is a life or death tool we cannot stop. So use it for life. Thank you.
Okay, the other team, Martín Barrientos, your turn.
Hi everyone. The highlight of our argument is the worrying advance of artificial intelligence and how it might affect us both as individuals, as groups, and as our countries. Our purpose is to show that we can reduce AI's negative effects and improve its benefits. We don't mean to place it against humans, but to implement them as a mechanism to assist us. Demonstrating at all times that humans are the ones in charge and that there's still time to successfully regulate AI. An example of these are the countries both taking measures to prevent the negative repercussion of AI usage and the ones still pondering whether or not to take said measurements or not, due to their lack of trust in their effectiveness. An example of that, it is important to highlight the concern of these countries about how they're going to find themselves in a much more technological future, one with a massified use of diverse artificial intelligence applications. And if we take into the account that different measures are already being worked on, it gives the possibility to also fix any future problems too. One of the fundamental pillars of our world is to maintain an informed society, and to achieve that, different objectives must be met. For example, it is said that AI is used to solve everyday problems, such as with school, university, and workplace assignments. But we must be careful on how and why it's being used. In a school/university, for example, AI can be used for plagiarism or to do someone else's work. Actions like this must be regulated because it affects students' learning process And just because a student wanted a quick answer by using an AI program without even knowing that the answer given might not even be correct, affecting the student's grade. In the labor area, AI helps solve problems that a company may have, and its workers are the most affected by this, by the usage of these programs, struggling to keep up with a machine and worrying that they could be replaced with a computer program, causing demotivation against the workers. Existing AI regulations are still fragmented and underdeveloped. However, this can be seen as an opportunity. This unregulated space allows policymakers to design and implement more strict laws and regulations to promote the fair use of AI. We are at a critical moment in the development of artificial intelligence. Despite the challenges, we still have time to establish a strong and effective regulations, ethical principles, transparency, and the ongoing oversight required to regulate AI effectively. By doing so, we can assure that AI is being developed and used in a way that benefits humanity. With that being said, I'd like to point out the most relevant of the current ethical principles of artificial intelligence. These are equity, that states that artificial intelligence systems must treat all people in the same way. And as our first speaker mentioned, for example, some work is still needed with the face recognition. The second statement is reliability and security. This states that AI systems must be reliable and safe. And as said earlier, with the accuracy of the answers given by a program, it is important to leave an opening for correction and any other feedback required. Privacy and security states that AI systems must be secure and respect privacy, and this is set in action by the world powers and their efforts to prevent any personal data leaking. Other two are transparency, that this states AI system must be understandable, and responsibility, that says that people must be responsible when using AI programs. And to conclude, our argument is clear. While artificial intelligence might be a source of controversy for all the damage it can bring, but we remain optimistic because we, as humans, still have time and the ability to regulate these AI programs. And when we successfully achieve this, it will be a big step in the evolution of technology, and it will bring us a much brighter future. Thank you for your time and have a good day.
Okay, thank you. We're going to have 2 minutes for the teams to prepare the last crossfire. Okay, so you have 2 minutes, and the judges also can comment about the advances. Thank you. Okay, time. Okay, thank you to the audience because you behaved very well. You were paying attention, okay? Thank you a lot for that. And the judges were concentrated, okay, assessing everything. And now it's the last time for the crossfire. You have 3 minutes, but you have to raise your hand in case of participation. Okay, here, do you want to participate? You? Who else from the other group? Only Thomas? Okay, all of you. Okay, my gosh. Okay, Thomas, start please with the first question.
Well,
name the person you're going to ask the question to, please.
Can I ask any of them or the ones
Okay,
who
if you
raised
want
their
to ask to the whole group, you say to the whole
hand?
team.
No, but I mean to every person or the ones who raised their
No,
hand?
just one question for one person or the whole team.
Okay,
Thank you. You start.
Well, Martin, you said that we are still on time to regulate and fairly use AI in companies, right?
Yep.
And why would the companies regulate something that benefit them?
Because it benefits them, so that's why they were regulated. Just imagine if some breach happened and they lose money. So why would they just don't regulate something? If it can bring any negative effects, they should regulate it to help them.
Yeah, that you said it.
Yes,
they should regulate it, but
yeah, because our statement is that we are still in time to regulate AI.
yeah, but you said that they should know that they are going to regulate it because they benefit economically from what AI does in the companies.
So,
but if the law regulate the AI, they wouldn't benefit much from it.
Okay,
They
can
should do it
can you
ethically
rephrase
and morally
that?
talking, but not like economically talking. It doesn't benefit them.
Okay, I didn't really understand. Can you rephrase it?
I mean that you said that they should. It's something that they should ethically do, but they don't want to, as we have seen in many times of our history, that the companies benefit from they economically benefit from things that are not ethically correct.
Okay, yeah, you have a fair point there, but still, if those things, what they're brought up to light, it brings troubles to said companies. So I think it should be better for them to try and regulate it, so any future problems can be stopped.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other one from your team first?
Yeah, I also have a question.
Okay,
for,
Martin.
I do have a question
Martin,
for you,
your
actually.
question.
Thomas, in your argument, you said that it is important to have ethical principles and to teach people how to use AI. But if your argument was that you cannot do that, why would you say that?
Because we have to do a call to action, and we can, as I said, we cannot just sit and watch. It is something that we have to do, but it's not something that from the development of AI. It's something that from the people can do.
Okay, so you're saying that although you're saying that you can do that, you have to do at least something to prepare it and to, you know, like make regulations for it?
I mean, we have to regulate it. We don't have to regulate it, but we can regulate it from the development way, but we have to adapt ourselves because we cannot just say anyone who want can develop an AI and use it how they want. We have to
thank
have
you.
morals limits.
Thank you. Let's give
Thanks.
Your turn.
You also said in your argument that we have to be optimistic and think to a brighter future. But what about the people being unfairly called criminals? There have been instances, and there have been multiple cases when people have been called criminals by AI systems that try to predict crimes.
As I also said, there is still work needed in the AI face recognition system, and that is also a way that you can regulate it. So if you regulate it and make more rules or programs to actually identify different people's faces, it helps.
Yeah, but that is in the future. There are already crimes, and there are already people that have been put in these AI systems as criminals. They are already in trial. Those regulations are too late to counteract those people being on trial.
Okay, but the fact that they are in trial by the AI system, I'm only talking about the AI perspective, not the people in trial.
Okay, thank you. Any other one from the team? No? So we're closing here. Very short, please, Tomás.
Well, apart from the ethic and moral regulation that you have said that they have been, that apart from the ethic and moral regulations that from the USA and AI and China Act, what other regulations have been done?
Yeah, we put Ireland with a restrictive law, and Japan is so Japan only wants a unified. Japan only needs a unified message, but Japan is.
Okay, that would be all. Thank you, both teams, for your opinions, for your arguments, okay, for the patience. And now we have the last part. We have to ask the judges. Okay, who's going to give us an opinion about this in general, appreciation of what the students did right now? Can you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Ms.
First of all, congratulations, both groups. There are many things that I would like to say in general. I'm going to be kind of emotional here because I've been with you for many years, and it's great to see the way you've been developing all your skills, not only your English skills, but also the critical thinking, which is something that I consider something difficult to reach, right? Well, in terms of the debate itself, something that I could highlight is how respectful you were among both teams, right? And, okay, should we announce the winners now?
Yes, so do you want to know who the team winner is? Yeah, I think, yeah, okay. Publicly here, okay, good.
All right, we decided that the winner team is the no team.
Can you give us just some ideas why?
Yeah, sure. Well, in both cases, you were all very fluent in terms of the way you presented the information. But in terms of the no team, the clarity of the arguments was superior, okay? The credibility of the information. You also made pauses to emphasize or reflect. You gave us time to reflect about the questions that you were asking, okay? Which is important for us. And also no, I think that was those were the main. And we have some things to say to them as well. We think that you missed some examples, like practical examples or practical cases. Okay, so maybe it could have been a good idea to expose certain daily life cases, right? And yeah, and also the improvements in terms of the improvisation. Sometimes you paid more emphasis into the script more than the reflection, and you didn't make pauses. You were very fluent, but you didn't make pauses, okay? And yeah, I think that's pretty much what we have to say. Congratulations and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, the judges. I want to welcome just 2 minutes, Father Antonio. Would you like to say something to the audience? Okay? Because you manage quite well in English.
I have to freshen up my English now. Well, congratulations again, as Ms. Yvette said. a while ago. This is very important. I think you managed very well the communication skills and also the argumentation. That was very good. Just a little thing, don't talk too fast. Maybe the problem was that when you have a time, so you have to rush, you know, and that probably create the problem. Sometimes it was a little difficult to understand. But this is terrific. I really like it, and I congratulate the English department and also the students that are participating on this. Just 2 weeks before, let me tell you something, just 2 weeks before I left the US to come back to Chile for good, I went to the movies, and I saw the famous movie, I think it's in Chile right now, Indiana Jones, right? And, well, the main actor is a very well-known actor, as you know, Harrison Ford, and he is 80 years old right now, 80, 81. And there is one scene that you can see in the movie that he jumps on the horse and drives the horse, and his face is like 50 years old, or no, less than that, maybe 30, 35 years old. So I wonder how they did that. I mean, it was so realistic, so realistic. And then I realized it was, again, artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence. And as some of the teachers were saying a few minutes ago, in the United States was a strike that came from the movie area, you know, from Hollywood, because all people were, the actors and the script people, they were having strikes because they said the artificial intelligence is replacing us, So this creates a lot of questions, and I think it's very good that we are able to debate, to understand how we relate to this new issue. So again, congratulations, and keep doing the good work. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you, and thank you to the audience. I'm happy to be here with you again. This is the second year, in fact, so you are cordially invited for the third debate next year. Thank you.